Shadows of the West, Midnight Phantoms. Justice, written by Reuben White. In the vast expanse of the untamed West, where shadows danced with the wind and secrets whispered in the dust, a figure feared and revered, known only as the Midnight Phantom, rode. His legend was born from the darkness, forged in the fires of betrayal, and etched into the annals of the wild frontier. Once, he was a beacon of justice, a lawman sworn to protect the innocent and uphold the law. But fate dealt him a cruel hand, and the very men he called brothers turned their guns against him, leaving him broken and forsaken in the unforgiving desert. Yet, the phantom arose from the ashes of his shattered life, a phantom of vengeance, a specter of retribution. With each passing night, he rode through the barren wasteland, a solitary figure cloaked in shadows and mystery. His steed, a ghost in the moonlight, carried him across the rugged terrain, swift and silent as death. The townsfolk spoke of him in hushed tones, their voices trembling with awe and fear, for they knew that when the Midnight Phantom appeared, justice would be swift and merciless. But as the phantom hunted down the outlaws and desperados who plagued the land, a darkness festered within him, a darkness born of pain and anger, betrayal and loss. It gnawed at his soul like a ravenous beast, threatening to consume him whole. Yet, he pushed onward, driven by an unrelenting thirst for justice, a hunger for vengeance that could never be sated. In the depths of the night, when the stars blinked out one by one and the moon hung low in the sky, the phantom struck. His weapons were as deadly as they were silent, a knife honed to a razor's edge, a pistol that whispered death with every shot. He moved with the grace of a predator, his movements were fluid and precise, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. The outlaws trembled at the sound of his name, for they knew that no hideout was safe from the phantom's wrath. He was a ghost in the darkness, a specter of doom that haunted their every waking moment. And yet, even as his legend grew, so too did the doubts that lingered in the hearts of those who witnessed his deeds. Was the phantom a hero, a champion of the downtrodden and oppressed? Or was he a harbinger of chaos, a force of destruction unleashed upon the West? The answer eluded them, lost in the shadows that clung to the phantom like a shroud. But amidst the uncertainty and fear, one thing remained clear: the Midnight Phantom would stop at nothing to see justice served, to right the wrongs that stained the land with blood. And as long as there were outlaws to hunt and innocents to defend, he would ride on, a lone figure silhouetted against the setting sun, a guardian of the shadows, a legend of the West. As the days stretched into weeks and the weeks into months, the legend of the Midnight Phantom grew, spreading like wildfire across the vast expanse of the West. Tales of his exploits echoed in every saloon and campfire, whispered in fear and awe by those who dared to speak his name. But with each passing day, the darkness that clung to the phantom's soul deepened, casting a shadow over his quest for justice. He had become a solitary figure, haunted by the ghosts of his past, tormented by the memories of those he had failed to save. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky and the stars winked conspiratorially above, the phantom rode into the town of Deadwood Gulch. The streets were deserted, the air heavy with the scent of impending doom. It was said that the town had fallen under the sway of a ruthless gang of outlaws, led by a man known only as Black Jack. The phantom's arrival sent shockwaves through the town, spreading fear and uncertainty like a contagion. The townsfolk whispered of his coming, their voices trembling with equal parts anticipation and dread, for they knew that death would surely follow when the phantom rode into town. As the phantom prowled the deserted streets, his senses alert for any sign of danger, he felt the weight of his burden pressing down upon him like a leaden shroud. The darkness that had consumed him threatened to suffocate him, to snuff out the last flicker of light that remained within his soul. But even in the depths of despair, a glimmer of hope still burned within him, a spark of righteousness that refused to be extinguished. With each step he took, he drew closer to his quarry, his resolve steeling like the blade he carried at his side. It was not long before the phantom found himself face to face with Black Jack and his gang, their eyes filled with malice and contempt. They laughed in the face of death, their bravado masking the fear that gnawed at their hearts. But the phantom was undeterred, his gaze steady, his hand steady as he reached for the pistol at his side. With lightning speed, he drew his weapon, the sound of gunfire echoing through the night like a thunderclap. The outlaws fell like wheat before the scythe, their cries of pain drowned out by the roar of the phantom's vengeance. When the dust had settled and the last echoes of gunfire had faded into the night, the phantom stood alone amidst the carnage, his breath coming in ragged gasps, his heart heavy with the weight of the lives he had taken. And yet, as he looked upon the town he had saved, he knew that his quest was far from over. For the darkness that had consumed him still lingered, a shadow that threatened to swallow him whole. But as long as there were innocents to protect and wrongs to right, the midnight phantom would ride on, a lone figure silhouetted against the endless expanse of the western sky, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. If you are enjoying adventures in the Old West channel, hit the subscribe button for future updates.